Welcome back to the Long Play Listening Party, everybody. Howie Howard here with Nate, along with Alex, Austin, and CJ from Scores. We are going to be listening to the back half of their album, Volume 1. If you haven't heard the first half, I highly recommend you go back and pick up that episode. Lots of outstanding music and stories and lying, probably, on there.
What an accusation.
Oh, no.
Fake news.
Sorry, Alex and I had a little exchange off mic about the lies that maybe not everyone was party to. But, Nate, why don't you hit us with a song? This one is, what's it called? Can't Sleep?
Can't Sleep, Don't Bother.
Can't sleep, don't bother.
Love that title.
Do you really?
I do. I like Can't Sleep, Don't Bother a lot. Was that an accident we ended up with that as a title?
I couldn't tell you.
They say that if you wake up, like if you can't sleep during the night and you wake up, you need to get out of bed, go to a chair, maybe read or something, and then you can fall back asleep. Like
as opposed
if you
to
just
laying
sit there and
there
try to go back to sleep.
Yeah, anxious and stressed out.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, you can't sleep. Why bother? Yes.
CJ, what do you think about this one? This is a CJ original that was sent over to Austin and I. Pretty bare bones, sparse demo. The lyrics, the vocal was there, and I can't remember in the main like bass guitar.
Yeah, I had the bass with the guitar that follows the bass. I was just mostly interested. I think I talked on the previous episode. Well, not the lost, the previous episode. That this song is like very heavily influenced by Survival, this particular Bob Marley album that I really love. And I feel like you can hear that heavily. And that's pretty out of your guys' wheelhouse. So I was just interested to see what you guys would do with it. You know, and you definitely shifted the vibe of it, which I think was good. It needed to not just be a reggae demo.
The first thing we did was literally add in the synth liner here right here, the boom, boom, which is these major notes. We added in, like, well, now there's a chorus now. Like, we just threw these majors in there. Again, very LCD Sound System inspired for sure, but
it shifted. What's interesting about that though is it shifted the emphasis. I feel like because where I was playing it was a little bit more off beat. And I feel like that pushed it more of a solid
hit the one.
Yeah.
This is another song we did with Joel.
That's a killer riff, though, man.
It's a great riff.
God, it's so good.
The bass line?
That main guitar riff.
Yeah.
And then when you go down and throw that octave on that. That's sick.
That falsetto you're hearing is actually me.
That was Austin. Yeah, that wasn't pitched up. Austin did the highest falsetto I've ever heard.
On that demo, I remember I was like, I'm hearing this high note, so I just did it. Yeah. Sounds great though.
Love this right here. The synth takes over and starts doubling the organic guitar lines. I love how the song morphs from very minimal, all organic instrumentation. By the end of the synths have taken over and it's become a machine.
Yeah.
A go-go bells on this one as well.
Yeah, a lot of LCD Sound System go-go bells going there.
A lot of.
Did you all say you bought some go-go bells just for this?
Oh, we bought a bunch of go-go bells.
Well, we literally bought a bunch of cowbells and a go-go bells for our LCD Sound System tribute band.
Oh, for that tribute, right.
For the tribute band. And then around the same time, we just started naturally kind of bringing them into some ideas we were working on. And then that was right when Scores was really picking up. So we're like, this should be a percussive band. Like that was also another idea from the
bass,
get-go.
percussion, and drums.
Yeah, bass, percussion, just like really groovy. So like most songs have a lot of percussion if you haven't noticed already. And a lot of it are bell work that we're just like, let's just make that a theme, you know? Because really, who else does that other than LCD Sound System?
That is true. And it's funny, like when we were learning the LCD Sound System.
Maybe Holy Ghost.
Yeah, and Holy Ghost is a huge influence on what might be the next song. I can't remember the track listing for doing Berlin Lines next, maybe.
No. Yeah, it is.
It's not.
No, it's Keep Your Eyes Closed.
But one LCD sound system trick that I've noticed is, they'll repeat the same groove over and over again, and then halfway through, 2 minutes into the groove, they just add a cowbell, and that's the only new layer they've added. But it kicks up the intensity. I
love that
so much.
I'm a big one thing that I've sort of come to terms with, and I say it that way because I felt very weird about it for a long time. I really like linear style songwriting. I like things that just you're really going back and forth between A and B, really, but you're just adding a little something here and there and building up a certain amount of tension. I just really love that style of songwriting. I feel like Austin's style of drums and the particular style that he chose on this lends itself to that really well, or I guess style of percussion, I should say.
Yeah.
And that was tracked. That one was tracked in Lawrence. Was that at the Cooper? That was at the
Joel. Barn. That was the upstairs barn.
Yeah, with Joel. Joel Martin, producer engineer. For those who missed part one, we tracked that pretty scrappily in Lawrence, Kansas, at a little makeshift studio that Joel had set up, but he had made this room just work, and it sounded so cool.
Yeah, it did. His drum tones, he would just
so good.
More inside baseball, but a lot of times when you track drums nowadays, it's very common to put on what's called a sample. So you might record a snare drum, but you'll actually layer on a fake snare sample on top. And it just makes it sound, I don't know, more pro, I suppose, or a better sounding tone.
For consistency or something like that.
For consistency, exactly. There are no drum samples on this album. There's
a couple digital.
There's a couple digital, clearly digital loop stuff, but all that snare, which sounds incredible, that is just Joel being a very good engineer in this small little barn room, and he's threw a mic on the snare. And it was his snare. He's just good.
Don't sell yourself short. You played the drums, though.
Well,
it takes a good drummer to get the tones, also.
But all these tones, all the drum tones are completely natural, which we did not mention that last time. So all the snares in particular, they sound really good, and there's some hi-hat work that sounds good, and those were just cracked hi-hats that Greg and Joel both knew how to mic up right, and that's all natural drums throughout the album.
We're an all-natural band.
We're all natural band.
Well, no, I love that hybrid with the acoustic set and sort of an electronic instrumentation. Tycho does that.
That's
his live shows. Yeah, his live shows are amazing. But what really does it for me is just seeing that band. I mean, I know that there's some other stuff that's going on, but I mean, as far as visually what you're seeing and hearing, I love how he works with the live drums in that context.
On that one too, it was kind of neat to kind of get into again the difference between how just people approach music. Joel, for example, when you sent those vocals for that song, CJ, those were quote unquote the demo vocals that you had, tracked for us to work with. And then we got into the studio and we're properly tracking the drums to the song. And Joel was very much like, no, your vocals, that captured the vibe of what you guys were going through. Why would we retract these? We're using the quote unquote demo vocals, and those are the demo vocals.
Yeah. Because you can get caught up chasing, it's called chasing the demo, where you have a demo and you're recreating it because you're in a nicer studio, and then you end up just striving to get the same quality of the demo. And right out of the gate, Joel was just like, no, we're not doing the vocals. Those are they're done. They sound incredible. And I think we all felt that too, but we didn't, we just assumed.
Well, it was kind of well, aren't we supposed to redo them again?
We're paying to be here. And then once Joel's just like, why would we touch those? You're like, yeah, because they're perfect. You're right. We don't need to do anything with those.
What do you think about that, CJ?
Yeah, were you wanting to retrack them, CJ?
I'm still pretty disappointed in the vocals on that. No, I'm just kidding. No, I'm going to be honest. I never want to redo vocals ever. So if Joel or whoever is producing will allow me to just leave, I'm big on feel really big on feel, which sometimes I have a hard time seeing, like forest through the trees or whatever that saying is on pitch.
Yeah.
And so sometimes I will get pitchy, and he's pushed me like, no, we do, like on the next Bonzo record, there's definitely a few that he was like, no, dude, this, we're going to need to redo this.
Well, because you know where you're going and what your intent is, but if somebody else is listening and doesn't know, maybe that they don't interpret
it doesn't
that.
come through.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, and
you need somebody that
I feel like I know what he's going for.
I'm feeling him. He's got good feel.
Totally.
That's funny.
Should we listen to "Keep Your Eyes Closed"?
Yeah.
Or you got anything else about
Can't Sleep?
I think it's a smash. It's a smash.
Yeah.
It's funny that song, the entire time when we were making it, I felt like really sure that I was like, okay, I'm pretty sure this is the first single off this album, and I'm pretty sure it ended up being the last single of that, which is like pretty cool. I feel good about how that went.
A lot of people actually that listen to it, that I trust their musical opinion, they were like, well, that's your first single, right? And I think we had already kind of decided Talk Flood was going to be the first quote unquote single, but lots of people felt that had the most, in a weird way, I guess, accessibility, even though to me it's like a bit off the wall, in a good way, but a lot of people found it the most listenable, I guess.
It's odd, but it's got it's just like a head nodder though. It's like yes, there's some like weird, I guess, rhythmic things going on with that, but it's
that song feels,
it's a bop, guys. It's a fucking bop, dude.
It's a bop. It is. Yeah. That song to me, it feels like this is kind of silly to say because of what the title is about, but like that feels like the sun coming up or something. Like it feels. I feel like a lot of what we've done is like pretty purposefully like cinematic and visual, and that one just sort of builds, like it starts at a really pretty meek place and builds into this lots of synth, pretty not heavy, but there's a lot more going on, and it feels like uplifting in a specific way that I think is really cool.
Yeah.
Which is very different from the next track.
Yeah, quite opposite in the next track.
Cue the next track. Keep Your Eyes Closed. You guys misspelled "your" and "closed." I don't know if you caught that.
No, we're trying to be hip.
Yeah. That's.
I actually did not know that we did that with "closed" until just now.
Yeah,
that was Joel.
I've noticed
Joel, when he sends over, rough mixes or stems or whatever, he intentionally likes to misspell your song titles, and he did that on a couple different ones.
Most of them,
yeah, and
we just kept them.
And we were just like, now that's the title now.
But this is one of the few exceptions where me and Alex had this demo that we had this chorus melody, and we left it on the instrumental track on the CJ, and we're like, we don't have to do with any part of the song, but we found this quite catchy. And then TJ was like, oh yeah, like that's great. And then, it enhanced the song with all the other melodies for sure.
Yeah, I feel like this song, I don't know if you guys hear it or not, or if this was intentional, but I feel like this song as well as Parallels both kind of are a shout out to the ACBs a little bit. Just specifically in those the hooks of the songs.
Yeah, I think they were. I know.
Well, we literally kept telling each other, no, sing it like the ACBs.
Yeah.
Like real light, delicate, like, just crank up the volume, but it's really light.
And for those listening, the ACBs are still a band, but were especially active early, around like 2010, put out some phenomenal records, and it's a band that we reference so frequently.
All the time.
All the time. Every song that we write, I think there's like, oh, here's what the ACBs would be.
Yeah. I think if you write a song from a standpoint of what would Connor do, it's going to turn out to be a decent song.
Yes.
Like he's just that good of a songwriter.
He's never not made a decent song.
Man, so I played that gig on Saturday with the Ben Cartel and the band, and it was Chris Toll and a couple of the guys, Kirsten Paladin and Jim Pillar. But Chris, he had a lot of stories, but one of his stories was about how he was like, I don't know anybody who can fit as many lyrics into a song as Connor can. It's like, I don't know how he does it, but like he has so many lyrics in those songs, it's crazy. He's like, I get a verse and a chorus done, and then I'm like, okay, what else? What now?
Yeah.
From the ACBs, Connor?
Oh, I'm sorry. No, I'm talking to Ghosty. Forget it.
That's great. That's great.
We were from Ghosty as well. ACBs are a phenomenal band. I am sorry that I confused those. ACBs. Those are flowers well deserved. Yeah, Andrew. But Andrew from Ghosty. Chris Toll.
He is fantastic.
But we were on the ACBs, so ACBs, lovely bands. I played some shows with them back then. They were super fun.
This is straight up Nine Inch Nails. Yeah, blown out. Can we make this?
Yeah. We all saw Nine Inch Nails. I mean, you guys have seen them a few times, but we all saw them together a few years ago, and it was one of the best shows I've ever seen in my life.
It's always a great experience. Yeah, you always leave a Nine Inch Nails show going like, I wanted to sound like Nine Inch Nails. Yeah, but no one should ever attempt to do that. It's kind of an untouchable. We did with that song. That was the first time we were like, let's just do a Nine Inch Nails distorted, blown out horn sound. And then that was another one with Joel mixing it. We just kept telling Joel like, okay, just the ending's cool, but like go completely wild with the mix on the end, like just go nuts. And he finally sent a mix back that was titled the way that it's spelled. That's why we stuck with it. That, like, he just nailed the nastiness of the outro, and we're like, that's the mix we're looking for.
We happened to be sitting with actually when we got that mix, we were in Chicago at the time. The Hembry guys who Austin and I performed with happened to be in town. They were staying with us, and we got that mix. And we're like, hey, Joel just sent a mix. We're going to put it on if you don't mind. I remember Garrett from Hembry started laughing afterwards. He was like, that's the coolest thing we've ever heard.
Well, I think his comment was, man, it just makes me want to go fight someone. And I was like, yeah.
Dude, it is an intense song, but yeah, the ending, that ending is crazy. That I wanted to keep going.
A cool thing about that song, and what was it? Was it Parallels? I think it was maybe Keep Your Eyes Closed and Parallels. Maybe it was Broaden Out. We had Josh Landau, who played in Spirit as a Spirit. He played a number of instruments in that band, but he happened to show up and had his trombone with him. And we just were like, man, load it up, dude. And he played some trombone on those two, and Joel tweaked it and distorted it and blew that thing out, and it just sounds nuts. I mean,
I do remember he showed up like right when we were working on the outro of that, and we're all like, more distorted synth, and then he like walks in the room, we're all kind of looking at him like, oh wait, you play trombone? He's like, yeah, I got my trombone. We're like, get the trombone. And he immediately walked in, and he just goes like, what do you want me to play? And we're like, just one note.
Yeah. The whole song is just one note. So just go ahead and hit that
and then
note.
we did have him double the melody.
He did, yeah.
It sounded so cool.
That trombone added a lot.
And that's kind of
that's awesome that he could play that, just like come in.
Oh yeah, he was always a pro, and that was very representative too. I think a different approach, and not to speak on behalf of Austin too much, but of the idea of like very, very much being open to collaboration. Like we were in the studio, Josh showed up, like, Josh, you want to be on the record, and he was down for it, and we were all down for it, and it turned out great. And I think that's a different being open to that sort of collaboration and like happy accidents that maybe in the past I hadn't been open to. I know.
Yeah.
Or we just hadn't been in a situation where that would allow for that.
Yeah. Or if you have a musician in the room, especially in this case that plays an instrument you don't even play, it's like, yeah, why wouldn't you be on?
Why wouldn't? Let's try it.
Let's try something. Because if it sticks, it sticks. But in this case, it stuck for sure. Yeah.
That song, I'd say, that song and Parallels, I think, were the absolute hardest to write vocally. I think probably that one was the biggest challenge for me. That one took me a long time to figure out how to fit something that I would want to listen to within that chord progression and that timing. And it ended up just being, I kept trying to like structure things out and like actually time things out. And I couldn't figure out how to, because whether that's because I don't know how to count or
I don't know what
It's
count
so,
that. I don't
I don't know. But both of those, I remember I would just hit record and literally like close my eyes and just like feel out. Like I would just sing. I would just feel some shit out until I hit it. And that's just where I ended up. I sort of beat my head against the wall on those for a little while.
I will. You used the phrase Harlequin pattern in there, and I think that's one of the coolest lyrics, one of the coolest phrases I've ever in the history of the world heard in a song. The fact that you fit in the phrase Harlequin pattern fits.
Yeah.
It's so
interesting.
Cool. I love it.
I appreciate that. There's one thing that like is very interesting to me through these. What will, by the time we end up finishing this, being like something like 5 hours of talking about this 30-minute record, is that Alex and I like very different things. Almost every part that Alex is like, this part that you did, I think is really cool, is one of the parts that I'm most self-conscious about. Like specifically, like that line specifically, I was looking at when I was reviewing for like going over stuff for the pod. I was like, man, I wish I would have said something else. And so it's genuinely like I appreciate this. You support all my weak points on this. I appreciate that a lot, man.
Because you're being vulnerable. You're trying something a little different. Like, hey, I'm so supportive of it. When you had sent the rough demo vocals back, that was the line that stuck out to me. And then when we tracked that song with Joel, the original version was probably a minute and a half longer. And I can't remember what reason it ended up being this way, but I went back in with Joel the following day to just get files as you go, and we started mixing on that. And we ended up chopping out about a minute 30 of that song and built it around the vocal parts because the vocals were so crucial to that song. And then also by the end, we're like, there's no expectations for this project, but it's a little indulgent if we have a minute long of just that Nine Inch Nails synth at the last.
That's all I wanted.
I know.
I was pretty upset.
And it went on.
I wanted more of it though.
Oh, it went on for like trust me, it went on for another couple minutes of just.
I could have used a lot more of that. I mean, if it was like me somehow coming up with something that cool, I probably would have let it go for a while.
Well, that's my fault then. I chopped it.
Because the drum pattern on that outro, it says like fast 16th, and then we go full 30 seconds.
Yeah,
and, it was a bitch to record, but both sections were like a good 8 bars of the 16th, 8 bars 32nd, and it was long.
I got video of Austin playing the 30 seconds. I couldn't believe it. Joel was like, because you were on the beat, on the click. But I
fell apart. Yeah, I think I like literally collapsed on the last.
But you crushed the take and we didn't have to be corrected.
Well, and then you trimmed it all out.
And then I cut it out.
Took it down to 1 bar. I was like,
yeah, great performance.
But yeah, the original version, that outro was way longer and just disgusting. I mean, probably this is the right move to trim it down, but
I don't know, man. I mean, we made some jokes about Volume 2 last time, and I think that's a Volume 2 move.
Yeah,
I think you just need to
podcast is
long and gross.
Yeah.
Volume 2 is called Volume 2 Long and Gross.
It's the same song, just longer versions of them.
Yeah.
All right,
we're coming back to talk about the same songs, but longer and grosser.
The podcast will be longer and grosser as well. Hey, so the next song up is Berlin Lines, which is like a double or triple entendre, if I recall correctly.
Yeah.
So let's hear that.
Talk about it, Alex.
Well, this was one of the first ones too, along with the Alligators. I think.
Berlin Lines, it was.
Insider baseball again. The tracks blend seamlessly, and we're really stoked how we sequence this out. Those are samples of we recorded on our phone when we were on our European backpacking trip in Dublin, and that is the Dublin Crosswalk beeping sound, if I'm not mistaken. We ended up putting it on a beat and building the entire song around it.
Yeah, that's correct. This song is called Berlin Lines because this is about the lines you get on your face after a night in Berlin. You got permanent
Wrinkles.
permanent scarring,
Permanent wrinkles around your eyes.
So Berlin lines are the lines on your face because Berlin will do that to you.
Yeah, it's not about the other lines, the degenerates who may be thinking that way.
No.
Not me.
Absolutely not.
Not me.
Absolutely not.
Drum tones on this are so cool. These are the deadest drum tones.
This is back to Greg. This is a Greg engineered, mixed, produced song.
We recorded this at my parents' lake house in Fort Scott, Kansas, and we turned their smallest bedroom at their cabin into a drum room and then just muffled the hell out of the room, soundproofed it with blankets and mattresses, and these are as dead as we could make the drums. It's like we're doing a film commentary, but there's nothing to see.
I can imagine that drum room very easily. I can see what that looks like, and
Yeah. Very tight
got a whole-
bedroom. We took all the bottom heads off all the drums, so it was just all top heads. Took the resonant head off the kick drum and shoved the mics right up to the head, so it was like just hitting like a magazine cover or something. It was just like dead. And then Greg was able just to crank them in the mix super loud. So, which is
And
what
this is
The drum room and the vocal room were the same.
Yeah. And this is a full-on kind of duet thing.
yeah, I was going to say
No, this is the other ACB. I was wrong about what I
Yeah,
said.
this is the most ACBs thing. And when we were writing the demo, we were like, I think it was awesome. It was like, no, we got to go full ACBs. Very delicate delivery on this. Ooh.
That's what we should. I mean, Volume 2 score should just be called Full ACBs.
Full
And
ACBs.
We'll just see what happens. That should be our only expectation. Full
we
ACBs.
You got to get
see what happens.
Connor on a song in the next
Oh, yeah.
volume.
No, we should get Connor in the band next time around, dude. Let's see what happens.
Yeah, I mean, scrap the Brian Eno cards. Just put full ACBs on a note card. Put that in a box.
Get ready. That little chime is there's a chime in there that is Greg's phone alarm going off to remind him to take his medication. And we heard it while we were playing back the song. We're like, whoa, who put that melody in there? It's incredible. He's like, I don't know. What is that? We couldn't figure it out. And come to find out it was his alarm going off in the back. And we're like, let's track that.
It's on there.
I love Alex. So this song, I feel, I don't know, from my perspective, I don't know how much Austin was involved in this, but this song is almost entirely Alex. In my head.
No, that's an awesome bass
This is
line.
entirely me, and then Alex did the vocal. This bass line is on there.
Well,
And then this was me
Fair
ripping
enough.
off. This is literally me ripping off Holy Ghost on the on
this whole
the synth
bridge is
melody.
Holy Ghost for it too, no doubt about it.
well, I really love how you ripped off Holy Ghost in this part. I think that's really cool.
Another fun tidbit, on the original demo, the song went super loud here. Like
Yeah, instead
we
of sucking down.
climaxed, and then we got to the point where we were supposed to track all these guitars and stuff to go big, and Greg and CJ were like, well, what do you mean? This is it. It's down. We go down. And I think Alex...
Yeah, it's time to empty it out.
Oh, it took me a while to convince me, just because in my head, we actually had performed it live as the Noise FM.
And we went massive on
We
the
went
outro.
big on the end. And this was the right move. This is incredible. Just incredible.
I didn't notice it the first time, but that bass is pretty dead too. Is that got foam
Bass
on it
is
or
very
something?
dead, yeah.
Yeah, when we tracked with Greg, we put a lot of foam on all the pickups of the bass. Real dead.
And that's
Put
not
foam
vocal
in the
melody.
pickup?
Yeah, we put
Underneath the strings
Underneath
to
the
really make them
strings.
dead.
Gotcha.
No release on them, I guess.
That da-da-da-da-da, and then it kind of like fades out towards like to my left. What was that?
That was the Korg. What is the micro small synth that everybody's got?
The micro Korg.
Micro Korg, yeah, it's in my closet over there, and that was your classic like stock setting that I'd use as the demo, but I ran it through a delay pedal, thinking we would change it, and it just fit so well. I was like, I guess we're gonna leave that thing.
No, man, that was cool. That I mean, it was I haven't heard it until I just listened to it there, and that was like the way that it kind of faded out towards the left and did some weird shit at the end, man. I love that. I love that shit, man. I love having that in the songs, even though maybe you can't hear it or it's not a primary element. But like if you listen to songs long enough,
and I think we've all experienced this as musicians in our various bands. But like, we spent a lot of time on the mixes on these things, and specifically, I'm a big headphone guy, and one of my biggest influences, and I could say this probably for CJ Noss as well, is like Nine Inch Nails and Trent Reznor, how he mixes records, and it's like it demands to be heard in headphones. And you can't expect everybody to listen in headphones, but we spent a lot of time mixing it so that there's little ear candy that's bouncing back and forth.
Mm-hmm. I love it, man. I love it. I think that's like the coolest thing ever. I think it's one of the most rewarding things ever, especially if you really like the band, is to be able to, listen to a record. And yeah, man, headphones, I used to do it. I used to listen to a lot more, I think, when I was younger, like when I was in high school and maybe college. And, obviously when I mix and stuff.
Yeah, I'm still in high school.
All right.
But like, I've got the fucking Bluetooth AirPods and shit.
Yeah.
So, and it's super convenient, but like, and then there, my phone doesn't have a jack, but like I have a really nice pair of headphones and I need to listen to that more. I need to figure out a way to be able to do that. Cause it is, it's just another experience altogether.
It really is. Yeah. I've made it a point this year to start doing that again, because I feel like I had kind of got away from that level of like focused listening.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it's fantastic. It's great.
Austin's been doing a good job of that. A lot of vinyl listening through headphones.
Yeah, I've been doing vinyl, like, a record, and then you actually plug your headphones into the amp and doing a proper vinyl listen, because that's quite an experience, to tell you what.
Right.
I can't wait for our birthdays back in February. CJ sent us the one I'm particularly excited about is a vinyl copy of Robin Honey, and I cannot wait to finally sit down with a headphone listen of that record.
Me and my girlfriend last month did a headphone party, and we ended with Robin Honey on headphones.
How'd she do?
Oh, she performed well. Robin.
Man, you know what? Even like CDs, Tim Finn comes on the bridge on Thursday mornings, and this Thursday he was talking about how vinyl is great. Or he read I think it was a Vice article or a Music Tech article, but how vinyl is great, but it was kind of a pain in the ass. He's like, I don't agree that it's a pain in the ass. I like vinyl, but I realized that I saw a box of CDs, like great box sets and stuff. I'm like, it's like I'm wondering, like if you listen to a Bluetooth through your car and then you throw in a CD, like the quality, like you don't realize it's just like whoa. He's like, so I'm going to make a conscious effort to kind of like, maybe build up my CD collection a little bit and have a way to listen to them. Even, vinyl is vinyl, but like CDs are physical too. Like you can actually hold a CD, and then the quality of the sound is way better than streaming, even though streaming is more convenient.
Which is why, as a band, we chose to do CDs and not vinyl.
That's why That's right. That's why
we made a conscious effort to not do vinyl, but to do CD.
Being a little facetious, we found out quickly. We found out quickly. Vinyl's just cost prohibitive.
Very expensive. Vinyl, and it's backlogged so bad right now, but. But like you're saying, CDs sound absolutely incredible. They really do. They're much better listening experience than anything you're going to stream or Bluetooth in your car. If your car has a CD player, you should be using CDs for sure.
The CD is the right choice for this material too, with all that low end, right? Because all that crazy sub is not going to come through on vinyl.
That is true.
Very true. Yeah.
And that comes back to going into the woods on this one a little bit. That's mastering issue for the most part, and we happen to find an amazing mastering engineer, Guy
David.
Davies.
Davies.
Yeah.
Guy Davies.
Guy Ritchie.
Guy Ritchie. Over in the UK.
Guy Ritchie mastered this record.
No, Guy Davies, who had mastered a few of our favorite bands. In particular, CJ brought it up previously, but Wild Beasts, and that's how we happened to find this mastering engineer, and he did a very... No, the word I told Isaac from Hembry, it's like tasteful is the word I would use. It's just very tasteful job of mastering this record.
Yeah.
Which I think is his, I don't know, I guess it's hard to, like, mastering is almost like a dark art, you know what I mean? Like, it's hard to know whether it's like, is it him or who chooses to go to him? But like, I feel like that's a quintessential, like the albums that he's a part of, are like they're somehow over the top and tasteful. You know, like I feel like with the Wild Beast records, they're like incredibly indulgent, but like you can hear every single thing that's happening, which to me like speaks to at least a little bit of limitation, you know, and what I'm sure they could keep on layering shit and hiding it if they allowed themselves to, you know.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
Well, yeah, that was
time
an
for
absolute
Alligator.
dream.
No, I think it's time for Alligator.
Bringing it full circle. So this last song, I suppose, was the first track that we actually worked together. We talked about on the first episode of this podcast. If you're keeping up, this was a demo that me and Alex worked up, and we didn't know what to do with it, and we sent it to CJ for some vocal ideas, and it became the first song as Scores that we completed.
That's a little field recording from the Logan Square train stop in Chicago.
And that saxophone in the background is our friend Dan
I didn't know
Barr,
that.
who originally tracked some sax on this that we ended up replacing with the other street musician. But that's old Dan Barr.
CJ took the Zoom recorder, my handheld Zoom recorder, down to the Logan Square train stop and recorded trains going by. And there was a guy playing acoustic guitar that you can kind of hear there a little bit. And then we blended in Dan, who was over at our house in the basement one time, doinking around on his saxophone, and put him in there to make it sound like a little freak musician.
That's cool.
I was trying to tie back a saxophone to the previous song and make it seem like we had like a grand master plan for the record of like saxophone's going to come back later on.
An overarching theme, something that will tie, yes. Well done, gentlemen. Well done.
Yeah. Logan Square train just went by. We're on the train going downtown.
Dance trains in town.
The dance trains. You gonna hop on or
hop on?
Hop on or get out of our way.
On the first take of this pod, we talked a little bit about this, but the bass you're hearing, that was the bass that we had on the demo, and when it came time to track the actual song, we didn't feel we needed to redo it because it was a perfect take. Just the tone was not quite what we wanted. We ended up running the demo bass through an amplifier and miking the amplifier to record the version we hear now.
Through a real shitty, cheap little practice amp.
We wanted to thin it out a little bit and make it sound less like a good bass and more like a mid-level, you know, like just a more
bad bass right there.
Yeah, bad. We wanted more bad bass. That's what you're hearing there.
Almost sounds like video. It sounds like a video game bass,
like an 8-inch.
So what was that? What was that? Was it a synth kind of doing like a melodic thing?
That was through the micro Korg also, right, which has for being.
It's almost like an arpeggiated thing or a sequence a sequence.
That was we did a manual.
We did a manual.
It's just like two notes. It's just a step up from each other. It's just really gross.
That was actually an ostinato, Nate. That part.
Yeah.
That's a part.
There you go.
Thank you, Howie.
I think we got your new gamer tag at the very least.
Ostinato 69.
Ostinato 42069, dude.
There's some.
Dude, I love the vibe of this. I mean, it's easy to say it's 80s, but man, it's very reminiscent to me of like an M83 track or or somewhere around that. Like just.
There's a real cool percussive thing going on that is a microphone that was close mic'd on Austin's lap, and he was just patting his legs.
It might have been my stomach.
Was it your
Like
stomach?
everything, it's just so open and oh man,
I made
so
a
good.
clap track that sounded more like skin, not hands, and but it's
Hit your stomach and we
Hit
mic'd it
my
and then
stomach.
distorted it.
and we blew it out.
And here's the Michael Jackson Thriller section.
That high synth was your Juno.
That was the Juno.
Yeah.
okay.
This I feel like is the most, like it sticks out the most lyrically. I think probably because it was the first. Like it's
song.
Yeah.
I love the lyrics on the song. Not gonna lie, CJ.
Yeah, I don't
How
think-
you
I don't-
need to do that Thriller thing again, man. Thank you. There you go.
I think this seems like there's less vocal effects on this one than some of the others too.
Yeah, this one's a little more dry for sure.
This is the last vocal song we recorded with Greg in the cabin. We went real dry. Intentionally.
Yeah. I wish I could remember that mic that Greg had. I really loved that mic. A ribbon mic of some sort. Bee's Knees? Is that what it was called?
Yeah,
Is that a mic? Let's Google it while the song plays.
Google it. This is another one, all live drum tones.
Yeah,
There's
good.
no samples, and Greg did a phenomenal job of making that
That's awesome, dude.
sound
That's-
so good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I remember because me and Alex had worked with Greg a lot on Noise FM stuff and some other projects, and this was the first time that when mixing, Greg was so stoked on the drum tones he had gotten, and it was an experiment. We recorded in this cabin. None of us had ever been there before, or recorded there before, and Greg was so excited. And it was fun to see him excited by tones that he got because he didn't quite know what to expect, like none of us did. And he was like, whoa, these are some of the best snare samples I've ever gotten, snare tones. And it was just because we piled into a bedroom and put duct tape all over the drums and he
That's
just
great.
cranked it up in the mix. And,
Well,
it
and
sounds
I
so
think
good.
sometimes it's harder, like in particular, Greg had mixed a lot of the Noise FM songs, and some of the songs that we had the most trouble with were like the loud rock songs that we wanted the classic, like, here's how drums are supposed to sound. And sometimes those are the hardest to mix and make sound good. Where this one, again, with the no expectations of like, hey, we're getting the deadest drums we can in a small little room at my parents' lake house. Whatever we end up with, we're going to deal with. And it made it, having those limitations combined with like, oh, we'd have no idea like what it should sound like, made it, gave it flexibility.
Limitations and no expectations.
Limitations, no expectations.
Yeah.
Limitation, no expectations.
Another thing I want to mention is that the cover of the CD, should you purchase it, was a painting that Greg did that we all thought was really cool.
Right.
Greg is a multifaceted kind of dude.
Yeah. The artwork's very, I guess experimental is a term, or contemporary experimental. And it's an actual painting that Greg then took a high quality photo of, and then we made it into the album artwork. But we thought it represented the music very well because it's shape based, but it's abstract shape. So we felt like it complemented the
Organic mixed with the synthetic kind of vibe.
Literal synths, and then you have organic drums, organic vocals, whatever. But it was a good combination, and the art it just kind of grabbed all of our attention.
And that was
So
while we were
stoked.
at the cabin recording with Greg. At some point, something came up that Greg said, like, by the way, I've been painting also. And I'm like, yeah. Everybody paints, whatever. And then he showed us some photos of some of his work. And we're like, Jesus, Greg, first of all, what's wrong with you? It's really hard. Second, it's really good.
Yeah.
Not a man.
Yeah. What we were saying, that's like an NFT type of thing.
That's right. Yeah.
And next time you're
NFT.
gonna lock yourself in a cabin for 4 days and come up with a really badass gorilla.
Mm-hmm.
Really.
That will be volume 2. Just
Yeah.
a cool ape.
We have one more track, Bars.
Yeah.
Give us the outro.
Yeah, give us
All
the
right.
The
outro.
outro to the album.
All right, take it home with the single.
This is a snip. It's like it was born out of
Okay,
Keep Your Eyes.
Yeah, this is that Nine Inch Nails thing I was saying I want more of. So
This is the section.
Well, here's your more.
Frank closing.
I'm already happy.
You can hear
We
the
hit-
trombone with pitch down way low. But that's
Oh yeah, for sure.
about earlier. Yeah.
Yeah, the trombone sounds like death coming upon you.
No, it
Love
sounds like something's
That's
wrong,
awesome.
man. It sounds like something's going wrong.
Yes,
Sounds like
absolutely.
a bad trip or something.
Yes,
Yes, yes.
Another, we were right after Keep Your Eyes Closed, and we had been kind of mixing it a little bit, and Joel, for one reason or another, was moving some bits around and accidentally hit half speed on Pro Tools and played this back. And I think we all sort of freaking out, like, whoa. That is,
Yeah, keep that.
we started laughing, and we're like, this sounds like death.
It kind of reminds me of War of the Worlds or some shit.
Yeah. And it was like, well, we've got to keep that.
Yeah, we didn't know what to do with it, but all of us knew that this should like be on the album somewhere. At one point, it was like going to be at the beginning, and it was going to be in the middle, and they were like, "Nah, it should be at the end, but it should be on there."
There was a brief moment when I think it was going to be track 1.
Yeah, I think I was all for that idea.
We had also originally hoped to get Marty from Ebony Tusk. He played in Cowboy
That's right.
Bear with me on it, and that didn't end up happening. Not because of Marty.
I can see an Ebony Tusk remix of this.
Yeah,
Yeah, he would crush it.
not too late for Volume 2.
It would be a sick track 1 on volume 2.
We should. That should be Score's theme. Is Bars just makes it on every record we make.
A different version of it.
Yeah, we'll have Marty on the next album.
And the reason it's called Bars was when Joel bounced it down, it was 4 bars of the song repeated over and over again, and that's why he had labeled it Bars, and we're like, well, that's got to be the name of the song now.
Nothing like making it easy.
Yep.
Yeah, I absolutely love the way that synth that Joel had sounds when it's slowed down that much. I love it. I love that track. I genuinely do. Like I would imagine a fair amount of people would listen to that and be like, what the hell? What the hell?
Why is this? Which it's funny because on Spotify, on your your release radar, you'll get a new song from artists that you follow or whatever. And when we put out Scores music, I've listened to it from time to time. I'm not.
Yeah, heck yeah, it's on Spotify. You got
And
to.
so one time on my release radar, I had a new Andy Schaaf song, new whoever song, and then it was Bars by Scores, and that was what release radar thought that I would want to listen to, and I was just like, man, I really hope someone else got this on the release radar.
Spotify was working against us from the
Because,
start.
I specifically like the idea of putting on Andy Schaaf and then like, oh, let's hear Bars. Like the most soft-spoken, introspective.
That algorithm's all fucked up.
Yeah.
That's what they're sending. Or maybe they just know me too well.
Here's the song you're gonna like.
But at the end of Bars there, if you couldn't hear it, it kind of ends with the little delicate footsteps that seamlessly blend into track 1, Broaden Out. The album's made to be listened just on repeat, so if you get
That's why you really want that CD.
the CD, depending on your CD
Keep
player,
spinning.
will keep spinning it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Great
There
record,
you go.
fellas.
If you take the right amount of substance, you can just play that CD back to 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 back
4
to back
days
to back
straight.
to back to back. Have a great night.
4 days straight, I guess.
Well, I don't know about that. That doesn't seem like the right substance or the right amount of substance.
Depends on what you're taking, but
I heard 4 days straight somewhere.
I
No,
won't
but
cuss on
to be serious though, I know we've done this a couple times, and at this point it looks like we still have our buddies Craig and Jark. That aside, I'm really happy
Craig
that we got to do. Yeah, that we got to do this again and listen to this record again and go through track by track like we did because and I'm not going to speak for Howie, even though I think he feels the same way. I love listening to it. I'm going to listen to it more. I mean, the synth, vibe is totally my thing, but I love the fact that you guys said that it was all, natural drum tones, and I'm going to pay more attention, I think, to the lyrics as I keep listening to it, just because, like I told you, it's something that that is a little secondary thing to me. But the record as a whole, man, I can't thank you enough for being willing to do this again and talk about it and go into depth about it, because, man, I like I said, I'm a huge fan of the record, and I appreciate all the stories and inside baseball and stuff that we talked about.
Hey, no problem.
Oh, well, thank you guys so much for having us.
When we do volume 2, we'll just have you guys come into the studio and we'll just do a live episode, live pod.
Or everybody can play on it.
and you
there
guys,
you go.
Yeah.
Honestly, there you go.
I don't play trombone. I don't know what I'm going to do.
That's the beauty. It doesn't even have to be an instrument. If you just make a sound.
He didn't say you had to play it good. I mean,
Yeah,
that's right.
You can come.
They wanted bad sax, so I don't know why bad trombone couldn't be any different.
We needed the trombone to be good.
The trombone had to be good.
Just had to hit the right note. Yeah.
Wait, didn't we talk about or reference like a national anthem about that at some point?
Yes, yeah. That was the major influence. There was Radiohead's national anthem.
Yeah, and I've learned since then, like, in various bands we've performed with now, I think that's a common reference point amongst musicians who want squeaky horn. The national anthem now is like by Radiohead. Yeah,
it's like, there's not a musician. There's not a musician in our generation that didn't hear that song, and I was like, we got to do that.
Yeah. And the band I've been in has done a version of national anthem, squeaky horns,
bass tone, squeaky horns. I mean, that whole song is a generation influence for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Albums Volume 1. The band is Scores. CJ, Alex Austin. Thanks so much for coming back on the pod. You can hear it everywhere you stream music. You can buy the CD on Bandcamp. Links are in all the descriptions and everything. This has been the Long Play Listening Party. Later, everybody.
Thank you.
Take care.
And
we did it.
Nice work. Thank you guys.
Now we managed to go even longer this time. We had more shit to talk about. What?